Hi there, it's Brian from Wachusett Vineyards here with a summer 2023 check-in. Some people have kindly asked how the vines are doing up here with this terrible weather that we've had, and it has been pretty bad. But honestly, the vines are doing pretty good. So let's take a quick walk around the vineyard, and I'll show you how things are progressing. Here's a row of Petite Pearl, which is one of our favorite red wine grapes. And the first thing you'll notice is that the grass is pretty high. And that is because we have made the conscious decision to stop cutting it. And that's because of all the rain that we've had here. We're fortunate in the sense that we're up on a hill, so we don't ever have to worry about ponding water or standing water. But we do have to worry about wet ground because this soil is clay and it holds a lot of water. So one strategy is to keep the grass around the vines and in the rows long like this. We stopped cutting it sometime probably about the third week of June, because what happens is these long grass blades will transpire a lot of water, so the grass and the weeds will pick up moisture from the soil and transpire it out back to the atmosphere through the blades of the grass. So this really helps dry out the rows quite a bit. I think if it weren't for the grass and weeds here, I think we would probably be walking through mud right now. So again, this is Petite Pearl. You can see that the clusters are forming here. Still a long way to go before they are ready to pick, because it's only still fairly early in the summer. But this is going to make some great wine, we hope, a little bit later in the season. You may remember, if you think back to May of this year, we had a very late frost here in the Northeast that was devastating to many farmers and agriculturalists, and also vineyards all across the Northeast. And our heart really goes out to some of our fellow vineyard owners, because we heard reports of 80 to 90% crop losses. I really hope for their sake that some of those vines that they thought had died produce secondary buds, and hopefully they'll be okay. We had some damage too, but really only to some new vines that we had planted. What you see here is, this is a Frontenac vine. And that vine and about 50 others like it had been planted just a week prior to that really late frost. So the buds that had just started to break actually did get killed or died back. And we thought that some of these newer vines were dead, but it turns out they actually did sprout from secondary vines. And most, not all, but most of them are doing just fine now. So they got a little bit of a speed bump this spring because of that frost, but they're doing fine. And finally, I just wanted to show you something that we're kind of excited about. What you see here on the right-hand side, this is Marquette, which you may know is one of our favorite red wine grapes. Also, Marquette produces a very lovely red wine, sort of in a Pinot Noir style. One of its grandparents happens to be Pinot Noir. But anyway, these are grown in this row in a fairly traditional manner. The vines go up, they reach this top wire here, then they go out in two arms in either direction, and then they just sort of hang over, and you can see some fruit that's developing nicely here. And this does fine, but Marquette tends to get a bit overgrown because it just grows so rambunctious and just grows so vigorously, particularly here in the fertile soils that we have up at the vineyard. So we're trying something a little bit different this year. If you look over here in the neighboring row, you'll see that this row is fitted with these cross arms. And what these cross arms do is they allow the vine, again, to come up, hit this center row, and then you'll see on either side the canes and the foliage just reach out over across those top arms, or cross arms rather, and are allowed to hang down, thus giving a neater appearance to the rows and assisting with airflow, which reduces diseases, and also providing more sunlight. These vines are able to catch more sunlight for sure, and which will help ripen the grapes. And finally, what we really anticipate is that this is going to help quite a bit with harvesting, because we think we're going to just be able to come under here and just enjoy some time in the shade and clip our grapes, and that'll be the harvest. This new training system is called the Watson training system, and while it's not super popular, we believe that there might be some pretty significant benefits to it. So it's a little bit early to tell yet. We just did a few rows using the Watson system. and we haven't harvested them yet, so we can't render a final verdict yet. But the way things are going, I think it's pretty safe to say that probably after this year, I think we'll probably be converting most of the vineyard over to the Watson system, just because it's a lot easier to manage, and you really get that foliage up in the sunlight so that it can absorb a lot of sun and carry on a lot of photosynthesis, which produces sugars, which ripens those grapes and gives them all that great aroma and flavors. So that's about it. That's our summer update from Wachusett Vineyards. Thanks for watching. Cheers.